Okay, it's Dave Dunham here with our MABTech Thursday session. We have Jared Mace here, CEO for OneCourt, who's uh, celebrating his Seahawks win for the Super Bowl. Congratulations. The Jared's going to fill us in on OneCourt and the benefits of it and so forth, and uh, various sports they've been exploring and developments they've had, and be here for a good discussion to answer all your questions. We had a brief discussion with NBC Boston, some of us on staff, Jerry and myself, Jen Harnish. Uh, that was on TV sometime last week. I guess OneCourt was tested at the Super Bowl by maybe a dozen people who are blind or visually impaired. And I think it's really an exciting development. With that, I'll turn it over to Jared.
Yeah, thanks, David. Appreciate the introduction and the invitation. I'm excited to reconnect with everyone. I know we joined you all, I think about a year ago, so it's exciting to be back and share all of the updates we have. So I do have a little bit of a slide deck. I'll go through it and share a lot of our kind of company history, what we're doing now, and also a lot of the progress over the last year in particular. But feel free, you can interrupt with questions, raise a hand, or I will leave plenty and plenty of time for questions. So please do be thinking of questions. Happy to answer any and all. So let me share screen and jump in. All right. This looks to be the right one. Okay.
There is a screen up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is OneCourt? OneCourt is a sports technology startup, and we're focused on improving accessibility. So many fans on this call will understand and I think really appreciate what the current challenges with accessing sports are, right? You might be 30 seconds behind the action if you're in a venue, listening to the radio, waiting for it to catch up, or, sitting with a friend or family member who's attempting to describe what's happening. The quality there can vary. And it also takes a little bit of time to communicate really what's happening through audio. And what we've developed at OneCourt is essentially a tactile broadcast. It's a way to watch sports with your hands and through your fingertips. So you can imagine the device we built. There's a picture of it on screen, but I'll describe it. It's about the size of a laptop. And on the surface, there's a tactile graphic of whatever sport or play surface you're watching. And underneath that graphic, you're feeling vibration. And it's similar to the vibration you might feel on your phone when your phone buzzes or notifies you when you get a text. But instead of a vibration that's in a singular position or the whole device vibrating, this device vibrates in a pinpoint location. So you can feel the position of a ball, for example, or a puck or any other sporting object. You can feel its position as it moves around the court. And what this really help does is fill in that spatial gap. So, we're very focused on bringing the thrill of live sports to everyone's fingertips in real time. So that's one of the magical pieces of this is that it's not delayed, right? It doesn't take 30 seconds to create this experience. All of this happens in less than half a second, or in some cases, 1 to 2 seconds, but it's really fast. And getting that real-time experience, I think, promotes independence, promotes engagement with other fans. Like we're able to argue about the call and, was that pitch inside or outside? Was that a ball or a strike? Those are the fun kind of arguments we get to have. And I think fans that use OneCourt often see they have an edge because they're actually tuned into the data that, maybe many sighted fans are not tuned into. So it's a very fun and special experience, and
Ball is
we're really excited about it. Sorry, I clicked ahead. we had this little video. I don't know, many of you may know Anthony Ferraro. He's actually over in your corner of the US, but oops, he did he's done a bunch of videos on OneCourt, and I really like this one because he's very descriptive, and he gives a good testimonial of what it's like to use OneCourt in a sports venue. So I'll play that now.
Ball is vibrating in real time, and I can follow it on the court here with my hands. It tells me when someone shoots, and then if they make it, the hoop will vibrate twice. Let's go! I never realized they even move around the court that fast. This is revolutionary, and the Trailblazers are the first team to adapt this in the NBA. We need everyone to do this. The entire court is tactile, so you can feel every part of it. Like, I'm fully involved in real time. Yo, did you see that? I can watch the game anywhere. We even got another blind user over here, Vic. 2 words, life-changing.
Yeah, so to add a little bit more visual context as well, he's got one of our OneCourt tablets, and he's, walking throughout an arena. He's sitting in the stadium chairs, and he's got it on his lap, and he's just moving his fingers around to feel where those vibrations are, and of course relates that to the game. He's also listening to audio, so the device has an audio jack where he's able to listen to, interestingly, a couple of different kinds of audio. In the first case, we actually generate audio from the data. In the second, we often pump through real-time radio. So we're very excited to be moving more in that direction. It's something that fans have been asking for a long time, and yeah, we're getting closer to doing that. We have some new technology partners that are doing that in stadium as well. So that's kind of an overview of the experience and what it's like. Um, and yeah, I'll just jump back into the problem and kind of how all of this started. So I already talked about like live sports. Why are they not accessible? Of course, many people understand that. I'm speaking to the choir in a sense. And I think even in that video, you hear kind of some evidence for the kind of challenges that we experience, right? Like missing spatial detail. You hear Anthony say, "Oh, I didn't realize they moved around the court that fast," right? That's because the radio's missing a lot of those things, right? It's not touching on all of the spatial information, like where the ball is, where the players are, how they're moving. Like it's often really challenging to pick that up through radio, and it just takes a long time to communicate that. And on top of that, you've got this inherent delay with radio. Sometimes it's 10, or we've seen even 90 seconds. And there's a feeling of, everyone around me is reacting, but I'm waiting to hear what happens. So neither of those are positive experiences. And we believe we've approached both of those through OneCourt. So yeah, to summarize, OneCourt is the first tactile broadcast, and it's bringing an entirely new dimension to the game. Some more of the fan experiences that people have shared, people kind of describe it like watching the game, right? In the same way that sighted fans are with their eyes watching and listening, OneCourt users are feeling and listening. And it's having that multi-sensory experience, I think we've seen is very valuable. Following another fan shares this, following different parts of the game, fouls, shots, where the ball was, it brought so much more. And then, yeah, some people share awesome things. Like, I felt like I was able to actually follow a basketball game for the first time since I lost my vision. And I wish I had this at home, which is something we'll talk a lot about today. So, how does this work, right? This is a really complicated technology. It's like, how did this come about and how did it happen? So, the basis for OneCourt is really league tracking data, right? We're seeing this more and more in professional sports, right? They understand everything about the game through data. They know where the ball is exactly. You can imagine a coordinate, right? They know the coordinates for everything, where the ball is, where the players are. And even in a three-dimensional sense, right? They basically have a digital twin of the game. And we are very fortunate to have access to that league data. It's not publicly available. It's really challenging actually to access, but it's a relationship that we've developed over time, and the leagues have granted us access to that data. So we basically tap into their feeds. We then transmit and translate that data into a dynamic haptic experience that you can feel, as well as an audio experience. And what I mean by that is with audio, we're actually able to generate text to speech from the data. So you can imagine we have an info button, for example. It's every fan's favorite button on our device, and it just reads out the live details around the game. So you press it and you're watching a game, you listen, you hear score, time left, number of timeouts, like team that has the ball, maybe the number of downs. Like it kind of reads through, it gives you a read through of all the current information, which again, kind of eliminates the point where you're asking a friend or you're waiting for the radio to kind of tell you what happened. So we've noticed like fans love that button so much so I've saw one fan, they were pressing it, 100 times a minute. They were using it all the time. So
Yeah.
yeah. OneCourt essentially it works across environments, right? It's not just in venue, but it's also at home. So we have these two business models, and the one we've been really focused on over the past year has been the in-venue side. So fans are able to go to one of the venues we support. We support 10 venues within the NBA, others outside of that, and basically check out a device from guest services for free. As long as they've got a ticket to the game, they're able to check a device out, use it, enjoy it, and simply turn it back in at the end of the game. This has given us a lot of exposure to different markets. As David mentioned, he joined NBC. It's given us a lot of exposure in the media. These big time teams and leagues are talking about OneCourt. They're sharing this experience across the league. And we're seeing that gain a lot of traction. As I
Can,
mentioned,
can I ask you a
probably the
question about
last,
that live event?
yeah,
On the live event, are you able to like basically take out any lag so that when they're scoring a basket, it's registering pretty quickly on the device as opposed to doing 15 seconds later when on something like basketball, 15 seconds, so much has passed, in that
yes.
time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I would say, one of the main value adds is this is all happening in the NBA specifically, it's happening in half a second. So you're feeling, if someone makes a shot, you're feeling the hoop vibrate a half a second after it happens. So we often see it with sighted fans that just demo the technology. They're amazed to see how real time it is, right? Like you're reacting with the crowd. People are seeing what's happening on the floor and you're feeling it at nearly the same time, which just that levels the playing field right there. So yeah, it's a critical point that this is happening in real time. Um, so yeah, I'd say it's one of the magical things about it.
And I think Darren Black might be trying to ask a question.
Yeah. Hey,
Hey,
Darren.
thanks, Aaron. Yeah, sorry to interrupt your great presentation. So on the subject of lag, I've never been to an NBA game, but I know at a lot of MLB parks, for example,
Yeah.
you can't get a device to access the real-time radio feed. So, you have to use a radio you brought to listen to the game and it, that's like 12, 15, 20 seconds, or you could
Yeah.
use your smartphone. So I'm wondering what challenges that OneCourt might have. What do you need technically, and are you always going to get in like a real-time radio feed as well,
Yeah.
so you can sync up the audio with that haptic?
Yes. It's a great question. And I'll kind of give you the story of how we've come to this idea and these conclusions. Basically, in the past, we were dealing with long radio delays like the ones you've described, 10 seconds. And in that case, we weren't even using the radio. And what we were doing instead was generating our own audio feed based on the data. So you can imagine it's basically like a short form radio feed. You're hearing things like pass, shot, score, touchdown, all of the main events, but they're very short form, right? It doesn't have the emotion, it doesn't have the real description, any of the humor that, a real announcer is bringing to the game. And while that worked for a time, of course, we see the value of radio And what we found is there are actually some emerging technologies that make it possible for real-time radio. And some venues are already doing it in their own way, but we're hoping to bring a solution here as well. We're trying to bring this solution into the fold with OneCourt so that fans can have both real-time radio and haptics. And we see fans kind of lean into one or the other or both. Like some fans will they love OneCourt. They'll just use the haptics. They want to listen to the sounds of the stadium and all the fans around them. Where some fans, are plugging into the audio and really enjoying that. So it's something that we're really just on the cusp of and excited to be doing more and more real-time radio stuff. But the Super Bowl, for example, which was our biggest event ever, of course, that was an example where, yeah, fans were actually listening to real-time radio through the OneCourt device. So everything you were getting was real time. I think it was 1 or 2 seconds behind.
Was it the local radio station or?
Yeah, it was Westwood One, the one they were in the venue, right? So it was
Yeah.
broadcasting the directly from the booth. Yeah. And we've seen too, like there's a lot of frustrations with the current assistive listening devices. Sometimes there's miseducation with guest services around what technologies they actually have. Like a lot of people at guest services think that their assistive listening devices play the radio. Well, they don't. And it's always disappointing when you go to a guest services and you ask for a radio and they hand you a device that they think is what you're asking for, but it's really just amplifying the sounds on the field, which is not the problem for this community, right? So that's been frustrating, but we're hoping to make a big difference here and have a solution that's giving both that spatial information and that real-time radio.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
I'm a little bit, I can't get a mental picture of the realistic quote, the realistic feedback that we're getting from this, let's call it a screen that you're having both your hands on.
Yeah.
I understand the single haptic or the double haptic when it's hitting a hoop or something like that.
Yeah.
When the players are moving around, so you're having one's hands constantly moving around on the screen to find out where people might be.
Yeah, I can give a little more color there. So there's a few things. Firstly, we're not showing everything at the same time, right? Like that's one of the big lessons we learned is that, touch and vision work quite differently. And with vision, we might be seeing the big picture all at the same time and then picking out a detail, where touch is kind of the other way around. We're starting with the details and then building up a larger picture. So what that looks like on OneCourt is that we might just show where the ball is. But then we're actually working on this. What if we give you control to decide what you want to look at, right? Like you could select different players and see where they are. And you could do that really rapidly. You could imagine clicking through a whole lineup of players and seeing their position. But of course, things are happening very quickly and things are changing all the time. So we've tended to focus on that main focal point, right? Where is the ball? What is it doing? Is it being passed? Is it being shot? And kind of, reducing the level of complexity with the game, right? Because we've just learned that, yeah, if you try to show all the players and the ball, it ends up being very difficult to interpret. But yeah, I think as time goes on, like we'll definitely have different levels of viewership. Like some fans will prefer more basic levels, and some advanced fans who use it all the time, they might, add more and more details back in. So I think that's kind of how you should think about, yeah, kind of the level of detail. You had another question in there. I don't think I answered it. What was your second question?
So Peter, I think what you were asking is what's the device is about the size of an iPad,
Right.
maybe a little bigger, and it's not a screen. It has skins, right? That's what you call it,
Yeah,
Jared.
that's a great
And you
way to
have a
think
different
about
skin for each sports. And under that skin are where all the haptic feedback devices are, uh,
Yeah.
tactile, whatever you call them.
Right.
And that's how it works. It's a grid of those things underneath.
Thank you.
I have a question. I came in rather late. Traffic was horrendous on the expressway. But anyway, seriously, the question I have is, what is the difference of accessing, let's say, a sporting event live or accessing it from home?
Yeah.
What is the difference there? And is there a lot of downloading that you have to do?
Yeah, great question. And before I get to that, I know Peter, I think I remember your other question was, do you have to move your hands around to follow it constantly? Thankfully, the device, given that it's the size of an iPad, most people put both hands on it, and there is a little bit of movement. And depending on how you use it, whether you're more so using your fingertips or you're using your entire hand, we see both uses. And we see a lot of different ways that people use it. People kind of come up with their own favorite way. But yeah, there's not a ton of like movement back and forth. And it kind of depends too on the sport. Like tennis, for example, is so fast that you've really just got both hands planted down. But, something like football, you're able to march down the field almost with the players. So,
Right. Right.
yeah, give a little bit more color there. But
But you're not necessarily aware, or are you aware of an end or a specific player uh, pulling back and moving to the other side of the field and all of the nuances of strategies in football,
yeah,
as well as basketball and
yeah.
any sport.
Yeah. A lot of that is coming through the radio as well, right? Like the announcers will certainly do their best to convey the strategy of the game, certainly player names, like getting a lot of the color around the action. And I think one court's job is really the spatial details of like, okay, where is this happening? How is this player moving? And feeling that in conjunction with the radio is super holistic. So I think
Yeah.
you're kind of getting the two different sources. Now, of course, that's not true for everyone. Like, fans in the deaf-blind community are relying more on the haptics, and we're actually working on, different ways to communicate some of this through Braille as well. But yeah, I guess Richard, kind of getting to your question. Actually, do you mind repeating that real quick? I'm sorry, I
The
went
question
back to Peter's
is, what
question.
is the difference in gaining access to, let's say, a game when you're there in, let's say, the stadium or in the court,
That's right.
as opposed to you're at home
Yeah.
listening on the radio or a television? Is there a lot of downloading beforehand that you need to do?
Yeah, great question. So there's really no downloading. This is all, very, very quick. It's not, network intensive or anything like that. You could think of it like as much data as you need to take a phone call. That's
Mhm.
about what data is required for a one court experience. And it's pretty minimal. It may be even less than that. But what you see in that is like what's more important is stability of like network connection. It's not so much the throughput. So you don't need like the world's best internet, to run this thing. And I think you can see that given that it works in a venue where the network is so
Oh, of
complicated,
course. Yeah.
they're often pretty bad, but
Yeah.
it still works. I guess to give you some context on in venue versus at home, it's just a little bit different. There's a couple of things that are different. On the data side, in venue, we're just sending the data as fast as we can, right? Like we want to be as close to real time as possible. So we're sending in the data. We're trying to get it there in a half a second, 1 second. Like that's the goal. And it's also a little bit of a different user flow. Like obviously you don't own the device. The device is owned by the venue or by us, and you're able to just pick it up from guest services and enjoy it for one game and check it back in. So you're not, it's kind of nice because when you go to a venue, you don't want to be necessarily bringing anything with you. It's
Mm.
already the clear bag policies and you're kind of limited on space. So it's nice to there's a device there ready for you to use. At home, though, obviously it's very different, and that's where most sports are watched, right? Like, I know we're not all going to the venue every single game or week or even month. Like,
Sure.
it's often a less common experience. So, what's nice about home is you can watch any and all sports from the comfort of your couch, right? And it's a difference, though, in the data side because the goal is not to necessarily send the data as fast as we can. It's to send it in a delay that is aligned with your other broadcasts, right? So like if you're watching with family and they've got it on the TV, how do you sync it up with another broadcast? Which I know,
Mm.
many fans experience today when they are syncing their radio, for example, to a broadcast. Like they're pausing the
Oh,
TV
yes.
or they're muting the TV, they're pausing it, waiting for the radio to catch up and then playing it at the same time. Like that's a very common experience, and OneCourt at home is actually pretty similar to that right now, where it is more manual. We're hoping to automate it, and we've done some prototyping there, but our hope is that, you can listen to whatever radio or audio source you want and be able to sync the tactile broadcast to that as well. What's also unique about at home is that, of course, this is a multi-sport. This is a broad entertainment device. It's not even just sport. We'll get to that. But as David pointed out, you're able to basically just swap the top surface, which is like a rubber mat, and, for whatever sport that you're watching. So if you're watching football, you can swap for football, soccer, basketball, baseball, whatever sports that we're supporting and have subscriptions for. So that's where it's headed.
Thank you.
Rashad,
Yeah. Hey, Darren, you got another question?
Rashad.
It's Rashad. Hey, go ahead, Rashad.
Sorry.
Technical question. How do you follow the ball? Do you plant a sensor or through AI?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we are not actually the ones who are capturing the data, but we are the ones who are, we're using it quite a bit. So what the teams and leagues are doing, it does vary. They're using oftentimes sensors. So this is true in football, for example. They've got sensors in the ball, in the pads to track all of this information. But the industry is really heading towards all optical based tracking. So using computer vision to basically pick out where the ball is, where the players are. And that we do honestly prefer that data. It's quite a bit faster oftentimes, but it's cool to see that you can take different approaches and see largely the same outcome. And, we use whatever data we have access to. So it does vary by sport. Awesome. Well, I'll continue here. We're kind of getting through how it works, and those are a lot of great questions. So thank you, everyone. I think I've already talked a lot about, these two different business models we have. The B2B, licensing where we're selling these devices to sports teams, and then the direct to consumer. And we have not launched the direct to consumer yet, but we're getting really close. And I'm previewing some pricing with you guys. It's not something that we've talked about publicly, and we're still surveying fans and collecting data and refining our strategy. But the current plan is to launch a pre-order with our waitlist members. So if you're not on the waitlist and you want an opportunity to buy one of these, you definitely should join our waitlist. It's really easy. You can go to our website and just fill out a quick form. But we're planning to sell the hardware for around $350, which we're hoping is a really accessible price point. We've heard from fans that, gosh, other assistive technologies can be really expensive. And we've heard that feedback, and I think our technology lends itself to a more affordable entry point. So that's what we're expecting. It may change, these are not final numbers. And then we are also thinking about a subscription for the data, being able to access every sport, every game. So we're considering bundles and single sport offerings, but one of the current ideas is to have an all access bundle. So that would be for NFL, NBA, and MLB. So that's covering the entire year of sports, the big sports in the US, for $29.99 per month. So that's kind of the current thinking. We may have different SKUs again at the time we launch pre-order, but this is kind of the ballpark of where we'll end up.
So on the business, um, it, basically you have venues that are getting a subscription right now,
Yeah,
or is it with the sports teams themselves? I know you've tried this in sports bars and other
yeah,
places
yeah,
too.
we've done a lot of watch parties and different things at sports bars and community centers. Those have been more, I guess, impromptu events. It's not necessarily a core part of our business model right now. What is a core part on the B2B side, on the sports team side, is yeah, licensing these directly with the sports teams. They often bring in a sponsor. So Ticketmaster's been a huge partner in all of this. They've actually enabled um they've enabled this in many of our venues. So yeah, but it's typically directly with the sports teams.
So Ticketmaster, you have a deal with Ticketmaster where somebody can in Ticketmaster can reserve one of these?
So we're working on that actually. We haven't we've sort of piloted that, I think, in a couple of places, but really I think how Ticketmaster looks at this is an investment in fan experiences, right? And that's what they're all about, is bringing the game to everybody, and I think they see a value in promoting that technology and supporting it. And yeah, they've been amazing partners in this. So it's yeah, they are supporting all of the 10 NBA venues that we're in right now, yeah, through their sponsorship. So,
Yeah, I thought Ticketmaster's goal was to make money.
well, that too. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about our growth since the 2024 launch. So like I said, we're now into 10 NBA venues. We participated in the leagues, the NBA's Launchpad Accelerator program. So that was really valuable for our company to work closely with the league and help improve our offering to their teams, and just make the product better. And we also worked with three other leagues. So we did the Club World Cup for FIFA. We're now looking at doing the World Cup, although there's still active conversations there. We had one MLB club last season. It was the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then, as I mentioned, the NFL, of course, our big splash at Super Bowl, which there's going to be more and more media about that. But we also did four team pilots. So in the Seattle Seahawks, the Minnesota Vikings, the Atlanta Hawks, or sorry, Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Hawks is their basketball team. And then who am I forgetting? There's one more that we worked with. Well, I'll remember it. Um, and yeah, I guess the closest to you all is actually probably the Brooklyn Nets. So they're one of our NBA teams. So if anyone is ever in that area at Barclays Center, definitely check it out. You can reserve ahead of time. You can also just first come, first serve. And I hope everybody gets a chance to try it. So yeah, some other key trends in our business. We're getting a lot of, our sales opportunities have kind of switched. It used to be that, we were going out and pitching teams and trying to get new customers, but what's awesome is that teams are actually reaching out to us now. So we have a lot of inbound opportunities, which is great. So, we're kind of flooded with those, and we're trying to keep up and support as many venues as we can. Each venue typically has around 5 devices, so that's where they start. So we have seen, large groups go in, and sometimes there's not enough, so people are sharing, and that's definitely feedback, to keep sharing with the group, with the teams, because we like to see, of course, more and more units. Um, we see that the devices are being used all the time. I think, it's 60% of devices are used at every game, thereabouts. So fans are able to, go to the venues, check them out, enjoy the experience, and it's really exciting to see, that community engagement. So, and I mentioned the media exposure. everyone has covered this, New York Times, The Athletic, Sports Business Journal. We're actually just named to Sports Business Journal's top 10 most innovative sports technology companies. So we have gotten a lot of support and recognition in the media.
But only one MLB team so far.
I know, yeah, we got to get that up. So reach out to your teams.
I wonder if you'd have to change the skin for Fenway Park.
Yeah, we might have to do something custom there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk about kind of baseball real quick, actually, now that we're on that topic.
Can I just interject for 1 second? I think there's two people who raised their hand. There was I think
Sure.
Darren might have asked again, and then there was a 917 number who raised their hand.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it. So I just wanted to make a suggestion.
Sure.
I'm a beat baseball coach and player for the Boston Strong.
Yeah.
And there was a week-long tournament. It's in Naperville, Illinois, but there's always a trip to Busch Stadium. And there's a group called Mind's Eye who actually puts their own describer in the stadium.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, the Cardinals really support access for blind and visually impaired fans. It might be a great partnership to contact the NBBA and maybe try to make something happen for this year.
Yeah.
This
When is
first week
that?
of August.
First week of August. Okay. That's really
I'm
cool.
gonna add one more in line with that with their own describer. The Worcester Red Sox, which is the AAA Red Sox, has its in stadium describer
Awesome.
for the blind and visually impaired, and that's local to people on this call right here.
Yeah.
That can easily get there for AAA games anyway.
Yeah.
That I could connect you with the person that runs the description service, and that would be interesting to play that special description, kind of like what Darren was mentioning with the
Absolutely.
baseball. Not
Yeah.
that it wouldn't be bad to do it in Busch Stadium either, but
Yeah. We love to do
we'd
it.
have to get on an airplane for that. So
Yeah.
Right.
someone else was there, raised their hand too. You recall who it was, Aaron?
Yeah, that was me, Adele.
Hi, Adele.
Hi. This is really interesting. It kind of reminds me of, if you were going to the pro games, it'd be like going to the movie theater and asking for
Yeah.
a descriptive video thing, and they give you a headphone or whatever, kind of like
Yeah.
that. But what I find is if I have my hands on this big as a laptop or iPad device, how do I know whether I'm feeling the player or the football or the puck or,
Yeah.
how would I know that? And the other thing that I had is it seems like to me, it's exciting, but it seems, I don't want to be negative, but it seems clunky. I have to hold this thing in my lap and I'm using both hands. So how do I clap or get excited or stand up and
Oh,
cheer?
yeah.
Like I got this thing in my lap
Yeah.
and I have to hold it with both hands,
Yeah.
and I know what you're saying about the delay because I long ago stopped using the radio at professional games.
Yeah.
But what I do is don't know if you're aware of, but they have this thing called Game Changer for unprofessional sports, like kids sports, all the way through high school. It's Dick Sporting Good puts it on. It's called Game Changer.
Okay.
And my grandkids live in Florida, so it's great because I find in Massachusetts they hardly use it. I get to view every single game, and they do the blow-by-blows. They tell you who's up. They tell you whether they did a home run or a single. I mean, it's just wonderful. But it
Wow.
can be delayed here and there.
Okay. Yeah,
And,
I'll look into that.
So, those are the kind of questions I had about the clunkiness versus being able to be spontaneous and hanging on to this thing so you don't break it.
Yeah.
And
Sounds like you should have a
whatever.
lanyard around your neck, so if you stand up really excited,
Yeah,
it doesn't
or a
crash to the
strap for
ground.
your leg or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the strap idea, it's definitely been something we're thinking about adding, especially to the B2B version. I think most fans think it's pretty it kind of disappears, like when you're at a sporting event, it just kind of sits on your lap and it's not like it's not super heavy, it's not super big. It is a little bit thicker than a laptop. And our newer B2C versions, our consumer device, is going to be much smaller. It's actually going to be more like the size of a Nintendo Switch, or like maybe you could think of it like almost like an iPad mini. So that, we are definitely always improving that hardware side of things. So
When
yeah,
you
but I do take the point, like it is a immersive experience, and we see fans sometimes they'll use one hand and drink a beer or eat some food, and while the others kind of focused on the action. So we
What do you
definitely
do on outdoor stadiums that might be raining or might be super cold, like a Pats game in December,
yeah, 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 we've just started working on that. Like, in the past we hadn't done any adverse weather games, but we were able to do a couple of them this season in the NFL pilots, and we found a really creative way of getting around it. So we basically learned that it's not really about protecting the
Lights
device.
off.
Like the device is, it's durable, it'll survive. It's more about protecting the user because no one wants to have their hands out in the rain or in the snow or in the cold. So actually what we've done is we kind of create a little cocoon almost. Like all the devices come in a tote bag, and we typically, in adverse weather games, fans just leave the device in the bag and they're able to, stick their hands in the bag, keep them in there, usually blankets or hand warmers or even gloves sometimes. Like, it can impact the haptic experience, like if you're wearing really thick gloves, for example. But we see, different approaches, and we've kind of put together what we call a cold weather kit for games like that. So that'll be a staple, I think, at all venues that are really cold. But of course, that's not to say there won't be cases where it's just simply too cold. Like, we did a game in Kansas City once where it was like that, and oh my gosh, yeah, I think any fan is kind of risking their life out there. So
You could theoretically feel it through gloves,
yeah, yeah, it's
because
not
it
bad.
is
It's just a little
that
worse.
level of tactile. But they
And
would have to be thin gloves.
what about
or
my other question as far as, I'm touching this thing, and me being the dummy that I am, being able to figure out, am I on the puck? Am I on the player?
Yes,
Is
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
pretty clear?
It's very clear, and I was describing this a bit earlier. Like we focus mainly on the ball. So, and that you could think of that as like the beginner mode where and we're trying to give this control to the user to be able to follow what they want. So, you can imagine like if you feel a vibration, you know immediately like, okay, that's the ball, and I can follow it around and understand exactly where it is. And depending on the sport, that might be happening really quickly, like hockey or tennis or something or soccer. But yeah, I think for advanced modes, we will be adding like more details, like being able to pan and feel different things.
Thank you so
The,
much. And
they,
I'm really encouraged by the price. Usually I was
Yeah,
thinking like $1,500. I won't be able
I
to afford,
know.
but 300 something, that's very reasonable. So I'm encouraged
Yeah,
by that. So thank you.
I'd
yeah,
like to ask a question. This is Peter. Uh,
yeah. Hey, Peter.
have you thought about possibly creating gloves that this would the tactile experience would be located within the glove?
That's fascinating. We have not. I mean, we've seen a lot of ancillary technologies, like others are developing haptic gloves. And kind of what we found is like it's really nice to have a reference of where it's really nice to have a reference of the field, right? The tactile graphic, like where's the basketball hoop, where's the 3-point line, all of those details, which is a little bit harder to communicate in a glove. Maybe there's some really interesting system where like you still got the board, but then you're wearing a glove that, lights up when you're touching a certain area. Like that could be interesting. We haven't done much there.
Yeah.
Ba baseball is really interesting because it's a two-part skin
Yes.
with
Yeah,
the
it's one of my
strike
favorites.
zone on the right side, and you can and theoretically using this device you can tell what's going on with the pitches better than many people in the stands that can
That's
see
for
it
sure.
because you can feel where it hits in the strike zone or outside the strike zone, I guess. And then the field has, can you feel the 9 players? Was it?
So you're not
Yeah.
feeling all 9 players, but you are feeling, where if the ball's hit, you feel where it goes.
Yeah.
You feel base runners, so like first base,
Yeah.
second base, third. So you can even feel them, lead off, which is kind of fun. And
Yeah.
yeah, if they steal a base or, score at home, like you're getting a lot of that's coming through.
This is
Yeah.
Carol Moulthrop. I was wondering if I could ask a question. I don't know how to raise my hand.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
But I was wondering if you got in touch with maybe people with the assistive things like beep ball and things like that, maybe what they could use this for, or
I
what
think
their
Yeah.
experience
that's
with.
what Darren was asking earlier. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
one actually good new point there that I'll share is, we have heard from fans that they see an opportunity to use this as a training device, not just as a device for watching sports, but you could imagine in beat baseball or, goal ball is a really good example where, you could have a coach that's, drawing on an iPad or something, and that's animating the surface of OneCourt. And you could review plays and talk about what happened in a match or, different things like that. So I think there is like a really fun and compelling kind of coaching and training angle. Yeah. I
So,
know we're nearly at time. Let me see if there's any other details that I can share. One thing I wanted to mention was this growing wait list. So, we see many fans that try the technology in venues are actually joining our at-home wait list because they see the value, they really enjoy it, and they want to be the first to use it at home. So, as I mentioned, you can sign up for that wait list on our website. It's just onecourt.io. And over 1,000 fans have done that. So those people will be the first to get that opportunity to buy the consumer unit. It's going to be interesting though, because it's going to be a pretty small pre-order. So it's not going to be, we're not going to have 1,000 units out there um, anytime soon. But hopefully this year, we'll have 200 or 300 or maybe even 500 units out there. So I definitely recommend signing up for that if you haven't. And I'll just talk a little bit about our team. Our team actually came from the University of Washington. So yeah, we're Huskies. We love the Seahawks. We love all Seattle sports. So it's been a big year, honestly, for Seattle sports, with the Mariners doing well for the first time in a long time. And the
and of course, the
Seahawks.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. Our team actually, it was a holiday yesterday because many of our team members, we were at the parade. So we take all the sport holidays, but yeah, we all met at the University of Washington and we kind of covered the core aspects of this business, design, hardware, software, business development. And we're also really fortunate to have an awesome group of advisors, mentors, in accessibility, like many of you may know Mike May or Dr. Kirk Adams, or folks in the NFL or in the sports world, and also other technologists and people that, have built amazing technologies. So we're really lucky to have their support, as well as a group of investors. So Satya Nadella is actually an investor, and he's of course the CEO at Microsoft, and others in the sports and accessibility world. So yeah, that's a little bit about what we've done over the past year, and excited to take any final questions. But I know we're kind of wrapping up.
Well, just quickly, you were talking about skins. Are there different skins? Two-part question. Are there different skins that you use for the different sports? And what is the material that they're made of? Is there a certain material that makes haptics a little more accessible to people?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it is just one skin equals one sport, and you just simply swap it out. It's like it's just a mat that you change out. On the consumer version, it's gonna have like a little easy magnet swap system. So it'll be really simple, but yeah, you just put different tactile graphics on the surface, and away you go. Or even this is breaking news. We're working on it. It's not necessarily going to be in version 1, but it may even be that the device will detect what skin is on there. So you can
Oh,
imagine if you put a football skin on the device, your app will just pull up all the football content. So that would be pretty cool, kind of a shortcut. Um,
This is Catherine. Question, are you going to be involved with the World Cup? 7 games coming to Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Mass.
Well, we are in discussions. I would say it's unlikely that we will be in that venue, but it's so up in the air right now, and nothing is confirmed. So, yeah, but definitely if you join our newsletter, join our wait list, like you'll hear about any announcements we have about additional venues or certainly World Cup work that we're doing. So, and our wait list is also a good place to be because, we are often sending out opportunities like, hey, we're testing this at, yeah, Gillette Stadium. Like anyone in the area want to join us or something. So, I definitely recommend the newsletter and wait list for things like that too. But the newsletter is more for staying up to date, whereas the wait list is really communicating your interest in that at-home experience.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I guess we're reaching our time, huh?
Awesome.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate wonderful presentation. Look forward to using the device more and more over time.
Yeah,
Um,
fantastic.
one question I have for people who are still on here: if MAB were to obtain a demo one to pass around, would that be of interest to people?
yes.
Yes.
Yes, I try it at home. Yes.
Okay. This
Yes,
is new.
definitely. I'd travel somewhere to explore it and test it out.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I
I'm sure,
think,
sure there'll be more.
yeah, there definitely will be. I think New York is the closest right now to you all.
Mhm.
So the Brooklyn Nets, if there's ever a game that you guys want to check out there, you can
Maybe we can figure out, try to make an arrangement like with the Worcester Red Sox.
yeah, let's do it. We'd love to see
Uh,
that.
and and we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks everybody. Really appreciate you having me and sharing this time, sharing your questions. So appreciate it and have a great one.
Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you
right,
too.
bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jared.
Of course. Yep. See ya.
Bye.
Have a good day. All right.
16173088441 has left. Jeff Wilson has left the meeting. Michelle Schiff has left the meeting.
Switching gears, I have a question.
You do?
Yes, I do.
I'll let you have a question.
Thank you. You're so kind.
While I was trying to find the end meeting.
Yeah.
What
I
is
just
it?
got a notice on my phone about 26.3 being available, the new update. Is that okay, or is it a good idea to wait before even updating?
What are you on right now?
26.2.
Okay. I have found out that if you have an older phone, that it probably was a good idea to avoid upgrading the 26 at all.
Oh boy, yeah. Okay, I did.
I I did too.
Yeah, Ashley told us that a
And
few weeks
we're
ago.
all having trouble with older phones in iOS 26.
Mhm.
So now that you're already there, you might as well. Maybe there's some fixes that will help. I don't know if yours slowed down on you, but it slowed down on everybody else that I know.
I
Yeah.
held off.
President.
I'm not installing it. I'm gonna download another one. Mine is still at 18.6.2.
Well,
Yeah,
then you're the
Ashley
smart
told
one.
us.
You're the
Ashley
smart one
told
for a
us a few
while.
weeks
This
ago,
is
you have an older iPhone, not to download it because it's gonna be very challenging for you to fix it and adjust to it.
yeah.
It's
My phone's about 4 to 5 years old, so it's older, I think.
yeah. I have an SE3, which is 2022 or 2021. So in those are having trouble.
Hmm.
And models after that are too. So
Yeah,
which is
Ashley said not to install it if you have an SE.
Oh boy.
Yep,
yeah.
that's what I have.
Me too. Me too.
But I'm not installing it.
So anyway, I did it, and I probably should figure out how to get back to 18 point whatever the latest one was.
Yeah, can you do that?
18.6.2. I
And
don't think
I
you
might call
can.
Microsoft accessibility on that.
Ask Ashley.
Oh.
She might know. She was the one who gave us these tips.
Ashley knows how to uninstall it. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, but she told us not to install it if you have
Uh-oh.
an SE
Well,
or older model, you know.
I think she
Because
found
she
that
said
out.
that it ruined her. It kind of did something to her mini iPhone or something. So she went
Yeah,
and bought a
well,
new phone.
oh yeah. Well, it messed up mine. So, but not terrible. But I was able to get it semi fixed. But you can't. It slows it down. So
Take it to the Apple store. Do you have one near you? They fix it at no charge if it's an easy fix, software and hardware. That's what I do.
Hello,
no,
everybody. This
I,
is Rachel, David. I've
yeah.
been to the Apple Store twice with my SE, and they told me get ready to use the next phone because this one's almost saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I've been there twice, but
If you
I'm okay because I already have the new one. But
if
yeah,
you want Apple Intelligence, you want the M series chip, which is the iPhone 17.
yeah, I got the
And and
15.
the problem with that is it's $1,100. It's
Mm,
eleven
no,
hundred dollar phone,
that's okay.
and
I'll just keep my 15. That's all right
uh, for a little while,
for a little while. Yeah.
it'll get cheaper later.
Dave, do you have the third generation one?
SE3,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
yeah.
what I have, and I think it's crazy.
It
I
is.
think it's going, I think I'm noticing different things on it that I just don't get.
Well, it does put on different software features. I don't think they're the software features themselves. There's a few things on there. For example, you have to be aware that if you create a contact, the first thing you can do is you can add a name, but that's only a temporary. You have to keep going past all of that and you'll go down to create contact.
Are they going to have a
So
fourth?
there are certain things about it that I don't think are working very well that they need to fix.
Are they going to have a fourth generation?
Oh, SE,
Yeah.
they're not going to have any more iPhones with the home buttons.
No, I know.
Oh, I know. I like the home
I
button.
like
That's why
the
I
do
got
too.
So this is the last one, SE3.
and that's why I like it.
Oh yeah, I like it too.
They
But
just
do
want
too.
us to keep spending
I
money.
I don't like it anymore
I
with
have to tell
iOS.
you guys.
What?
I'm sorry. I have to tell you guys, I was the same, whining and carrying on about the home button. And
Yep.
my son made me get, now it's old, it's iPhone 16.
Mhm.
And I don't miss the home key one bit. Like I thought I was going to have a hard time because they have the side button and you're basically using that for your home key. And it's kind of the same thing.
Oh,
Huh. Oh, really? Wow.
So it's
that's
really
why.
not
No,
that bad. I was afraid of it, but
it's
it's
just
The
so
only
easy.
some people have more trouble pressing the side button
So
repeatedly.
David,
That's all. Because of the arthritis or whatever, But
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
tiny buttons. Yeah.
I don't think, I think you could get used to it, but a lot of people have trouble hitting that one because of the
David,
way it works. But
David, this is Rachel.
Yeah.
What about what she just said about the side button? The first few times I tried to get used to the side button, I was pressing the volume at the same time. I ended up calling SOS emergency or something.
no,
I
when you
wasn't.
press,
Yeah,
you don't want to press both the side button
exactly.
and
I didn't know.
and the other side.
I didn't know. Well, I was training one of the trainees. He did it too.
That's the thing about the side button. It is lined
Yeah.
up with
That's the
you
only
got to make
problem.
sure where you're holding. Do that.
Absolutely.
Definitely mess it up. I know I would.
So one thing that could be helpful is to get a folding wallet case.
I do have one of those. I still did it.
That way you can hold outside the wallet and not press the
Yeah, now I know, but I
Yeah.
didn't know at the beginning, and I'm holding them both, and I go like, oh, that's what I'm doing. It was crazy.
I've never done that, but what I've done a couple of times, and I don't know what I'm pressing on the other side, but I keep taking screenshots.
Oh
So
boy.
I don't know what. So but now I know. I hold my iPhone in my hand and I just use my thumb to do the side button, and that kind of works for me.
Yeah, some people have a hard time doing that side button, that's all. But I think you can get used to it. It's not the end of the world for most people. I think,
As long as I can, that's for sure.
Yeah, so if you did you upgrade it to iOS 26?
Did it automatically.
Yeah. So now you're stuck with it, but keep in mind there are some things that are different, and
Right.
and you'll find them as you go through, like creating contacts.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of fools you. It has it has a thing where you can add the name, but it only adds it temporarily on your recents.
That's weird.
So, but you have to keep swiping down to create new contact to do it like you used to do. So there's a separate thing called create new contact. So you can add a name without creating a contact, which is kind of dumb because why would you add a name?
I saw that. I saw that too.
Just to have it there
David.
temporarily.
Yeah, I saw that. Why have a temporary one if you can just create a permanent one? But I don't know what they're thinking.
I learned that, I learned that by doing it wrong. So and then I did look it up on
the third generation. We do. As I like.
So we'll have to all get used to no home button soon.
Even
it is what it is.
And
you gotta move on.
It'll be okay. We'll live. You still by the way, on that side button, you still can set it so 3 clicks does voiceover on and off.
Correct.
Which is
that's
what I
good to
use.
know.
Which I use that a lot on the home button because I do that for phone calls.
I noticed
Because I don't want it talking. I don't want voiceover talking while I'm trying to talk to somebody.
I noticed it went to voiceover automatically without me even saying turn voiceover on or off.
Which one?
Nobody else noticed that.
Oh. Well, I think if you carry your settings over, one of them would be voiceover. If you had it on the previous version.
We'll see what happens.
Thank you, David. Beautiful presentation. Thank you. Everybody have a nice week.
Oh, you're the same.
Bye-bye now.
Stay warm.
We'll see you. Okay.
Thank you, David.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
We'll see you. Bye.